Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well, you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app from the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the word Spot Media. The police are declaring that while the Zone of Special Operations, ZOSO, is positively impacting Mount Salem in St. James, it is not curbing crime in other parts of the parish. Senior Superintendent of Police in charge of the St. James Police Division, Marlon Nesbitt, says the ZOSO has generally impacted some neighboring communities, but its reach is limited. The zone was established in Mount Salem on September 1. The police have made a few arrests and seized several illegal firearms in the zone, and residents have seen a significant reduction in crime. It was widely believed that, based on the disruption of criminal activity in the community, there would be a ripple effect in other areas of St. James because of the restrictions imposed by the security forces. However, SSP Nesbitt says the crime problem in the parish is significant and needs more than zones of special operations.
Where ZOSO was launched, we have at least 4 gangs, 3 very active that normally operate in that area. And they, over time and prior to ZOSO, would have created a lot of issues for the police, a lot of shootings, a lot of murders. Since ZOSO, we have not had any of those issues. And ZOSO impacts, in a general way, nearby communities also outside of Mount Salem. I will agree that we have seen some crime situation that one would have hope that ZOSO would have impacted across St. James, but I don't think ZOSO would have that type of reach based on what is being done there, how it's unfolding. The resource around ZOSO can't fix St. James.
9 murders were recorded in St. James between Saturday and Sunday. Amnesty International says it's not surprised that extrajudicial killings have again increased in Jamaica, as research by the organization has shown no evidence of the police being held accountable by the government. Caribbean research at Amnesty International, Louis Tillerson, said the revelation yesterday during a submission to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights in Uruguay. Statistics from India show that
we were met with flat denial of any police involvement in human rights violations. Of course, this explains why not a single disciplinary proceeding has begun against police, while Indicom has recommended that against 138 officers. And it explains why, year after a commission of inquiry published its findings into what took place in Tivoli in 2010, a symbol for the entire Caribbean of a police force gone wrong, the JCF in an internal review cleared the police of any wrongdoing.
Statistics from Indicom show that between January and September 2017, police killings increased by 44% compared with the similar period in 2016. Director at Jamaicans for Justice, Roger Malcolm, told the commission that detainees in Jamaica are often held under deplorable conditions and tortured as well as beaten while in police lockup.
Police lockups are quite literally dungeon-style areas inside police stations that were originally meant for short-term holding areas, but have morphed into long-term detention environments and the worst incubators for human rights violations, including killings and torture. Jamaica's pretrial detention system also systematically violates the rights of detainees to protection from cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment. The physical conditions of lockups and prisons is indisputably deplorable, and the treatment of detainees is discomforting. There is immense overcrowding and health and sanitation disasters. To exacerbate the situation, police routinely deny detainees access to medical care or even to use the bathroom more than once a day, in many cases as a punitive measure.
He said the situation continues unhindered as there is no clear statutory framework for pre-trial detention in Jamaica that complies with human rights standards. 2 persons are now in hospital following a motor vehicle crash on the Wilderness Main Road in St. Mary this morning. TVJ News understands that about 7:30, a white Toyota motor car operating as a taxi and another blue Toyota motor car were traveling along the North Coast Highway when the crash took place. It is still unclear what transpired. Political Ombudsman Donna Parchment Brown has indicated that an assessment is to be made today to determine whether there needs to be a halt of campaigning in St. Mary Southeastern. Mrs. Parchment Brown has announced that she, along with representatives from election watchdog groups, will visit the constituency to determine the next move.
Walking with the Jamaica Constabulary Force and members of the PMI. And if necessary, I'm going to ask for a meeting of the election center, which I co-chair with the director of elections, for us to consider in the presence of representatives of the JLP, the JCF, the JDF, CAFE, Jamaica Umbrella Group of Churches, Broadcasting Commission, and the NIA, to look at whether things have escalated unbearably in particular areas, that it would be important to look for further action. So we're not there yet.
1 year after the passing of former Supreme Ventures CEO Brian George, the gaming entity has marked the anniversary with a donation towards cardiology equipment at the University Hospital of the West Indies. Brian George passed on October 23, 2016, after being ill for some time. At a check presentation ceremony on Monday, his widow explained that her late husband had intended to make the donation to UWI Hospital following favorable comments about Jamaican doctors while he sought health care overseas.
The only difference between the care is the availability of the equipment. And that is by far the only difference, because all the reports that we got from Lisa Herlock, the doctors were in awe. And these were top doctors in New York saying, oh, this is fantastic. You have an amazing doctor. And we were touched by what they had to say. And Brian decided that he had to do something to contribute to making sure that UWI could offer the same care that Mount Sinai could offer.
The $4 million donation will be put towards a cardiology mobile diagnostic assistance in the purchase of a cardiology machine.
Our hope and prayer, as you said, is for us to be able to use it to heal bodies. I think Mr. Salman said something that was very profound. It's not a donation, it's an investment in the life of others, and I like that.
Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton also commended the move by the family and Supreme Ventures, noting that this kind of partnership is critical for the public health sector to succeed.
Public health requires partnerships. And this again is an example of partnership. I think if we do well by people, if we demonstrate our interests, our ability, capacity to deliver service, we will get responses that are positive, and that will manifest itself not just in verbal support, but in material support, tangible support. And frankly speaking, public health can't survive without that kind of goodwill.
Residents of Westmoreland have taken to the streets for a second straight day, mounting roadblocks demanding that roadways in the parish are repaired immediately. TVJ's Lana Gay Franklin has the details.
From as early as 5 o'clock Tuesday morning, residents blocked the major thoroughfares some 5 miles from Whithorn to Framehill to Caledonia to Darliston in Westmoreland. Residents, including taxi operators, say the poor road condition has become unbearable. On Monday, several roadways were blocked, preventing hundreds of students and commuters from moving about freely. It's the same for today. The communities affected since yesterday also include Ashton, Barnett Side, Content, Holy Hill, Cane Curran, and Darliston.
It has been several years from I'm a little child. We haven't seen good road here, so we had to come out and protest for it. Each time we come out, we don't see anyone coming to represent us. So they continue telling us they will be coming shortly, and no one hasn't come out as yet.
I am also an owner of the vehicle that operates within the constituency of Sov to Darliston. And the condition of the road, it is very dissatisfying to the public, to the users.
Councillor for the Darliston Division, Jerome Bacchus, said he has been aware of the ongoing problem, but listed a lack of funding as the main issue why the deteriorating road condition has not been addressed.
Well, you just have some patience, as I said earlier, I speak to the NWA manager and he acknowledged that the funding is ready, and we just have to have a good patience.
Lana Gay Franklin, TVJ News.
We go on to news overseas. Joint Chief Chairman General Joseph Dunford has revealed that the U.S. troops who were attacked in Niger on October 4 were on their way back to their operating base when they were ambushed by 50 ISIS fighters. 4 U.S. and 5 Nigerian soldiers were killed and 2 Americans were wounded in the attack. However, more than 2 weeks after the incident, details of what happened is still unclear. We go to the CNN for more.
Pentagon revealing new details about the ambush in Niger that killed 4 U.S. soldiers.
And there's a perception that the Department of Defense has not been forthcoming.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff revealing that U.S. forces were on a reconnaissance mission and on their way back to their operating base in Niger when the firefight began. But they waited 1 hour to call for support.
Important to note that when they didn't ask for support for that first hour, my judgment would be that unit thought they could handle the situation without additional support. And so, well, we'll find out in the investigation exactly why it took an hour for them to call.
It took French fighter jets another hour to arrive on the scene, which was 2 hours after the ambush began. Dunford making clear many questions still remain.
Did the mission of U.S. forces change during the operation? Did our forces have adequate intelligence, equipment, and training? Was our pre-mission assessment of the threat in the area accurate? How did U.S. forces become separated during the engagement, specifically Sergeant Johnson? And why did it take time to find and recover Sergeant Johnson?
The comments come amid growing tension with Capitol Hill, where top lawmakers from both parties accused the administration of failing to disclose how 4 service members were killed in Niger.
Americans should know what's going on in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And one of the fights I'm having right now with the administration is that Armed Services Committee is not getting enough information. And they deserve it because we represent their families too.
And we go back for an update on a local story as a team from the National Works Agency, NWA, began patching work to a section of the Surge Island to Trinityville Main Road in St. Thomas this morning. This after residents in the community protested about the poor road conditions in the area. Member of Parliament for St. Thomas Western, James Robertson, asked the NWA to have the temporary patching work done.
For the past 3 days, residents of Trinityville and Georgia used fallen trees and other debris to block the main road because of its current state. The protest left students and commuters stranded for hours. This driver tried to get his truck across the blocked roads, but he was stopped as protesters piled up even more debris to block the area. The residents say the poor road conditions in the area is a long-standing issue.
I was born in 1979. I don't see this road fixed properly. One time they barely patch it out and that's it.
They insist that work done on the roads is not enough.
White man on the road. We don't want that a road we want. We don't want a patchy road. We don't want a man. We want a road in Western St. Thomas.
Some residents allege that persons have been hurt as a result of the poor road conditions.
Even one young lady with the name Cam, her daughter jump over the rock and broke her and Bolo Bull can't go over there, more than one can't go over there.
They argue St. Thomas is the forgotten parish.
We road in a terrible condition. This is the infrastructure of the country, where the basis for advancement. This is in red on the map, and it's in the worst condition. St. Thomas have the most deplorable road condition in Jamaica. Why is that? It is a Paul Bogo syndrome. Well, if them not fix the road, we are going to march with Paul Bogo sword.
Shamela Mitchell, TVJ News.
And we go now to sports. Middle order batsman Paul Palmer Jr. will lead the Jamaica Scorpions team on their trip to Guyana to face the Jaguars in the absence of regular skipper Nikita Miller. There are 3 newcomers in the squad who left the island on Monday. Jermaine Brown has the details.
Who led the side briefly 2 seasons ago, has once again been entrusted with the leadership role, but on an interim basis. Regular skipper Nikita Miller is currently recovering from a medical operation and will miss the country's 2 overseas contests against the Jaguars and the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force.
As you can see, we have a decent amount of newcomers, fellas making the debut for this game. So for us going down there, we just have to try and carry out the instructions given by the coach as much as possible and play some positive cricket. We have a very talented team. We're a talented bunch, so it's just now for us, as I said before, to go out and put that on display.
One of the fresh faces in the squad is left-arm spinner Dennis Bulai. Bulai has played 3 first-class matches, and his impressive figures of 8 for 13 and 7 for 35 in his most recent JCA Elite League matches have earned him the confidence of the selectors. He's hoping he can carry over his good form to the first-class level.
Well, that's the best thing to do, bring your form over from where it is now, over in the bigger league. So that's the whole entire aim now, to bring that across in the regional level, to do well, so that I can move forward to better and bigger things and to have a permanent place in the team.
The other newcomers in the squad are wicketkeeper Romain Morris, as well as Garth Garvey and Paul Harrison, both of the Kingston Cricket Club. While acknowledging the absence of a few of the team's usual players due to West Indies senior team and West Indies A duties, head coach Robert Samuels believes the team has the right balance to get the job done against the defending champions, the Guyana Jaguars.
I'm very pleased with what I have to work with. Whatever it is that I'm given, I have to work with it, and I'm pleased with the guys going down there. As I say, a new bunch. They are a good-looking bunch. They have been around playing Senior Cup and playing around Senior Cup and all that. So it's for them to just go now. They were on the fringe for a very long time. They thought they should have played. Other people think they should get a chance. Now they have gotten a chance. So I am happy with the team going down. I am looking forward to sitting down and seeing them play good cricket.
The squad is completed by Trevon Griffith, Asad Footed-in, Brandon King, Fabian Allen, Derval Green, Damani Sewell, Keena Wallace, and Jason Dawes. Jermaine Brown reporting for TVJ Sports.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.
The following is a paid announcement